In this video, let me talk about modules. A module is a Python file that has functions and variables that we may want to use in other files. For example, we can be able to use the random module that helps us to give us access to things that can help us to generate random values. For example, I can do that by using the import keyword in Python. So I'll import a module by saying import, then the module name. And in this case, we want to use random. So I'm going to import random. When I import random, I can use any function within the random. So in this case, let's use the random. Let's generate a random integer. So I'm going to use random.randint, and then I specify the first value. So I save value between 0 and let's say 100. So when I save this and run, you see that we can be able to generate a random integer between our range. So that means that modules have functions and classes and variables that we can be able to access in other files. So what if we create our own module? So I'm going to create our module. So within modules.py, we're going to create our module. So let's just add a simple function that adds numbers. So we pass in parameters x and y. And when you pass in these parameters, all we want is this function to return the sum of this. So we're going to say return x plus y. Now we may also want to create another function. So let's say def subtract. Let's call this subtract. And let's say in this case we also add x and y. Now let's say our function can return x minus y. So once this is done, we can also create some variables such as let's say name is equal to let's say module. So I'm going to save this. In case we want to use this within another file, all we have to do is to use the import statement, and then we make use of the variables and functions within that file. So I'm going to create another file here, which I'm going to call, just going to call it import.py. And within this file, I'm going to import our modules. So I'm going to say import, and then the next thing will be the name of the module. So in this case, we want to import modules. Then for me to import modules, let's say I want to make use of the add function and the subtract function, as well as to print the name. So to do that, I may say print modules. So I may say print modules dot. So this accesses the name within our modules module. So when I save this, come to the terminal, run our file, and try to run our file again. So in this case, we want to run the imports file. So I'm going to say python imports py import.py. This is going to print our name, which is module. So let's try to also make use of the functions within our modules module. I'm going to say print. So let me prompt a user for that. So I'm going to say x is equal to int input, enter x. Can also print in. I can also prompt for y. So I'm going to say int. Then this is going to be input. Then we're going to say enter y. Then we are going to print. So this is going to be an f string having x. So let's say x. This is going to be x pass, and then we put our value for y. Then we put this is going to be modules dot add. Then we provide our x and y values. So I'm going to say x and y. So the same thing we're going to do for the y for the subtract. So I'm going to just copy this and then come paste it here. What I'm going to say is x minus y is equal to modules. In this case, it's going to be modules dot subtract and x minus y. So when I save this, we are going to come to our terminal, and when I run the file, we are prompted for our x, so let's say 23. Then we have 18 as our y. And this is going to make use of our functions and return our values.